Hello and welcome. We're live. Zombiepalooza Radio. Glad to have you here. Hope you love the show. If you do, get down at that point and like and share the YouTube channel. We're Zombiepalooza Radio Live. And it's about that time, so I'm going to go and start with what we usually do, and then, we'll get on to the really important stuff, like the guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for flying with us. On our final approach, please make sure your seat bags and trays are in their upright and locked positions, and any carry-on bags are stored on the floor beneath you. We should be on the ground shortly.
This is your captain speaking. Dead Winds, we are making our final approach. Make sure together your wife, husband, spouse, friends and family, and zombies. And head over to www.livestream.com/Zombiepalooza Radio to listen to Jackie and I every Friday night starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for 5 hours of zombie fun. And like always, thank you for flying Zombiepalooza Radio.
The views expressed and opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of CPR Productions, its affiliates, or sponsors. We're doing something a little different tonight. So we're trying this out live for the first time. Hopefully it'll work. Let's see, we're gonna go. How do I? Uh-oh. Da, da, da. It's a new toy, so we're trying to. Well, I don't know why it's not working, but it doesn't want to work. Let's see, I'm gonna try this. Enter. How is, what am I missing here? Oh well. Okay. That's not gonna work. So, I'm gonna go back over here.
Send me the link.
Huh?
Send me the link.
I have the link, but it's not. Oops. Can we fix that?
Yeah, unclick me. Or unclick you. Go down there and unclick.
There we go. All right. I don't know how to get this thing up to where it was supposed to go.
Send me the link.
Huh? Both of your mics are muted.
There it is.
Hi. All right, guys. I don't know. Huh?
You want to see if I can play it?
Can you see? Can you see if you can do it, please? It's new. It's the first rodeo. Do you like the background? I think it's pretty kind of cool. Are you working on putting it up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I'm hoping it'll work. I don't know why it's not working on this end. How much longer?
Still working.
Okay. We did work on this to try and get it to work, but hello and welcome to Zombiepalooza Radio. Would turn the sound down just a scotch? Thank you. All right. Tonight is we're getting ready to do 5 hours of some amazing radio.
Turning into Ed Sullivan. Really big shoe.
Why is it doing that? I don't want. Cut it. Cut the feed. Cut the feed. What happened? It jumped. All right, never mind. We'll just figure out something else. Hang tight. Plan B. Always very important during the zombie apocalypse to have a plan B. So here's my plan B. This should work. Woohoo! All right. This is Zombiepalooza Radio. We're very excited to have you here. Tonight, we've got 5 amazing guests that are coming up. It is Halloween night tonight, so lots of crazy things are going to happen tonight.
I'm a crazy thing.
We got some great authors. We got a man who's a Curandero on first hour. His name is Charles Garcia. Second hour, we've got Lisa Vasquez. She has recently written some books. She's starting a brand new publishing house. You got to check it out. On third hour, we have Jennifer Raygoza. Always a favorite on Zombiepalooza Radio. Love, love, love what she produces. Love the personality. And she writes amazingly. Fourth hour, we have a guy that's had 3 books on Amazon, #1 position. That's Bobby Akart. And our fifth hour, he's another interesting individual. I can't talk tonight. Ah! His name is Forbes West, and he writes sci-fi, apocalyptic horror. It's going to be an amazing night. Stay tuned. You never know what's going to happen on Zombiepalooza Radio unless you watch. The views expressed and opinions given by the individual host and their guest do not necessarily reflect those of ZPR Productions, its affiliates, or sponsors. All right, we are ready to do another 5-hour radio show, I'm pretty sure. Scott Pearson, to the front
Yes,
desk.
ma'am.
Please answer the white courtesy phone. We've got some crazy things going on our Facebook page within the last 48 hours, and I want to have you I want you to give them, our listeners, if we have any left, the numbers on our page currently. Meanwhile, while
the current
I'm
numbers
sorry?
on our page are impressive, to say the least. Currently, I'm seeing over 207,000 post reach and 14,959, almost 15,000 people engaged with posts on our page at this moment.
I am so thrilled. We're all thrilled here. And that's Scott Pearson. He is the head of our research department, and he's head of all things green, and those digits are pretty green.
Those digits are amazing.
I know, right? All right. We've got also with us a couple of others. First chair co-host, Adore William. Okay, Dead. Are you doing okay? Are you in the middle of something, Dead Door? We do have a show to do. Where'd he go? I'm having a feeling that that was him running, chasing someone.
I think something tasty walked by.
All right, Dead Door. You're going to get your butt back here?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi!
Yeah,
What was
I had to chase something down. It was in chains.
You okay?
I'm fine.
Good. Notice
He's almost well done.
Okay, all right. Notice I asked if Dead Door's okay and not the whatever he was chasing down. We also need to get Crunchy on board because we got 2 minutes before we have to bring in our first guest. And I gotta push
I'm here. Hello.
Well, happy Hallows Eve, Crunchy. How you doing? How you
I'm
doing?
doing good.
Good.
I'm doing great.
That's awesome. All right, I'm gonna raise my sounds up here. Okay, we're gonna go over to get our first guest, and that would be Chuck or Charles Garcia. He is a pretty cool guy. Let me see, where's his links at? He's a Curandero. Do you know what a Curandero is?
I have no idea. I deal with nuts.
Well, sometimes he does too.
Ooh.
Depends, lots of different kinds of things. He's an herbalist, and he goes and helps people in his neighborhood and all across the world. He's got some things that he does that are pretty amazing, and he teaches and helps people get better. He says he drank 3 cups of coffee, some Red Bull, 2 ounces of cocaine, sniffed some Drano, and he's up and ready. All right.
Sounds like my normal lunch.
I mean, I told you.
That's a hell of a recipe.
You what? It sounds like something that Scott would give Crunchy to turn him into something. How are ya? Good. We need to be able to hear you. I can't hear you. Punch your sounds.
Try the mute button.
He'll get it. I don't think he's muted. I just think. Nope. I can read lips though. Oh, you can't hear me? Oh crap.
He
And that
may
was
need
this,
to restart.
what?
He
He
may
might.
need to restart.
Um. He just came in with that link though.
I'm talking about
Okay.
computer.
What, Crunchy?
He may need to restart the computer.
Um. All right. Crunchy says you might need to restart your computer. It says. It might be. I know I tested him a couple days ago, and the
Hmm?
sounds were working fine. So I don't know exactly where he went, but I'm going to go over to his site, California School of Traditional Hispanic Herbalism. And he does some pretty cool stuff over here, and that would be www.hispanicherbs.com. I'm going to put a link, live link up in here to be able to get that going, at least. So let's see. All right, we got. Going to showcase him on here. There we go. So what do you think is actually wrong with his system? Because we were able to talk before, and then the last thing that happened was he lost his sound, and that was the other day, and I don't know why that happened.
While you were talking to him?
Yeah, it clicked out while we were talking, but we were talking for about, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes before that happened. So
I only said restart because the only thing I thought of was he unplugged the headset and then tried to plug it in while it was still on. Usually when you restart, it will recognize that headset.
right. Well, I hope he figures out what happened here. So I'm going to go and get his bio information while we're waiting. All right. So let's see what we got here.
So is everybody all ready for Halloween? I've already got my costume ready. Get ready. I'm going as a bear.
What have you done, Crunchy?
A bear.
I'm going as a bear. I'm trying to get into character.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll be a very small bear, but still.
You didn't do anything to him this time, Scott?
No,
I'm
no.
thinking. I'm not sure where to get bear DNA.
I
Say that living in Colorado.
It was no bear DNA. It's all from the throat.
it's off of the throat. He did
Yeah, it's
that.
all in the throat.
Oh, all right, guys. Charles Garcia has written a book called Forever Fair. It's a post-apocalyptic fantasy. I don't know who stole my ability to speak, but somebody did. Better give it back. All right, so we got, in just 3 years, a variant of H5N1 bird flu wipes out most of the world's population. Starvation, illness, suicide, and murder wipe out half of those remaining. Survivors band together for mutual protection and aid. In the years following the long death, technology grinds to a halt. Yet there are two who survive and even thrive because of skills developed and honed in the before times through their love and dedication to the Renaissance fairs of years past. So you can learn something from all kinds of places. From all over Northern California, fair folk are returning to the original fair site in Black Point Forest to celebrate their survival. But even in a world decimated by death and sorrow, there are those who would destroy the last remnants of song and dance and kill anyone who dared to celebrate life. Join a Ren Fair family in their desperate fight to protect what once what what once was a place of happiness and peace. Have the old gods wakened? Who is the gentle woman who helps the family survive? Does a mute child have a secret about the enemy? Can spirits of the great oaks help their children defend the remnants of Black Point Forest? Come join the battle for forever fair. Pretty cool. What do you think about that?
I like that he calls the apocalypse the long death.
I do too.
It's a very poetic, very artistic description of it.
He
I don't
has
think I've heard that before.
I don't actually think so either. He has a way of being able to bring something that I'm very familiar with because we used to go to Ren Fair all the time. And I enjoy that kind of lifestyle. I mean, currently I wouldn't want to live it 24/7, but there are a lot of things that you can learn from there and pieces parts that you can pick up that would be very effective if you have to go off grid. Yeah, very cool. You ever gone to a Renaissance fair?
I've been to Renaissance fairs. I've actually been to SCA events, the Society for Creative Anachronism. If for the
Oh
listeners
yeah,
out there, if you're into Renaissance fair, you've got to see an SCA event sometime. They're all over the country. They're all over the world, actually. But each kingdom that you go into, you go to these events, and it's funny because if you're wearing anything that could not have been made from the 16th century on up, you're considered naked and treated as such the entire time you're there. It's
exactly.
really hilarious, but you can go to booths there and you can find actual armorers with forges in the SCA event that will teach you how to make armor, how to make chainmail. There's one in particular up in Bellingham, Washington. This man is so incredible. He can make chainmail gloves that you can actually pick up a dime off concrete with. And it's amazing what he can do with just this wire that he weaves into the chainmail. And SCA teaches that there's a lot of good weaponry knowledge there that can be used.
Ah, we got you back?
Okay.
There he is. Hey, we hear him.
I do, and I see him too. All right, let me put him back on. There you go. I'd rather look at you than me. So we've been talking about your book that you have out about the apocalypse and Ren Fair.
Yes,
cool.
thank you.
How did you evolve to be able to create this particular book?
Luckily, my children were raised at fair. They were fair folk. And their godmother, Ruth, who appears in that book, took them every single year until they were well into their teens, and at least my eldest was in her 20s. So I knew a lot of the characters there, and I knew their personal backstories. And I knew that they all had primitive skills. They could survive in an apocalypse. They would be some of the few people who could. So I actually had a dream about the story, but instead of being set in the North Bay, it was actually set in Yosemite. But over the years, I worked it out of there. I found more characters that I enjoyed, so I placed them in the story. And I'm at that point, I was pretty anti-Christian. I was angry at Christianity in general. And I thought, if the apocalypse happened, what would the faith of people be? And I thought that the one God would fall and the old gods might return. And so in that story, one spirit, one earth spirit, comes back. And she helps to protect Fair to a degree. So
Thank you for that. All right. So you also have outside of your writing, and you do different kinds of things with your writing too. But I want to go over to this other wonderful project that you have to be able to help teach people to do what you do. California School of Traditional Hispanic Herbalism.
yes, I started that after I had a stroke, and I could no longer work for long periods at my old job, which was working with deaf children. And I loved the work. I just loved the kids, many of whom I'm still in contact with. So I was at home and I was bemoaning the fact that I had now lost 2 careers. And I've always used herbs and such. And my eldest kid said, Dad, you know, Grandma isn't going to live forever. You're the last one who knows about all this stuff. Although she did not use the word stuff. And she said, you've got to go back to the old ways. But rather than do that, I started taking classes at the Pacific School of Herbal Medicine. And the teacher there, the main instructor, Adam Seller, oddly enough, we were born on the same day. And we have nothing else in common beyond that. But we struck up a very firm friendship, mentorship. And after a while, he said, get out of here. You know these plants. And you're never going to practice like me, a skinny-ass Jew from Oakland. You have your own culture. You've got to go back to it or it's going to die. So I had taught classes informally for a couple of years. So in 1998, I started my school. And except for a brief break, it's been going ever since. I also teach online classes. Now, my school is different because I stress using local plants if you can. Go out, find them, grow them if you can, harvest them, beg, borrow, or steal. Okay. I teach how to behind these, what plants you can use in the right season, what plants you shouldn't use, what plants might not be appropriate because there's not enough of them. And I also teach them a different way of, I can't use the word diagnosis legally. I can
Right.
get into trouble. But how to observe the human body to see if there are problems there. This is how the old timers did it. To look at a person's face, the sheen on their skin, the sweat, the smell of them, their breath, their pee, their crap. All these things were used before X-rays and MRIs and such. This was the way it was done, and it's still valid. You just have to know how. So I also teach that. And over these years, I've gotten some very good and very loyal students who have gone on. I stress that you should take more than one school. You should find schools that call to you, that have the classes, that have the personnel, that can teach you what you need. Not what you want, but what you need. This is a calling. This is like being a nun or a priest or a minister. Because, at least in my practice, you deal with the whole body.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about a little bit of nitty-gritty stuff. I was told by someone very dear to me, my husband, when harvesting, you really need to stay away from main roads, and you have to be careful about whether or not the soil itself is tainted or toxic.
Exactly.
Talk about those kinds of things for people who are already pretty much know that they're going to go and start harvesting at some point.
Well, luckily, California has been using unleaded gas for many, many years. So the poisoning to the sides of the road, not near as bad anymore. The rain that used to come, and it may come on Sunday, has cleaned a lot of the soil. Now that being said, I still would not harvest there for maybe another generation or so. I would not harvest in a field that's been fertilized or plowed. You have to go into the wilderness, which I do. You have to go into the high desert. You have to go into the mountains, like Star Trek, to go where no one has gone before. And those can be really big adventures.
Right.
There is a pond out in Death Valley, and it's always there. It is fed by small streams of snow, and it is always ice cold. And there's lush vegetation around it. And in that pond, you can harvest perfectly clean yerba manza, which is an aquatic plant, which is a very strong immune supportive. It's a great plant. Makes a great tea too. Tastes good.
You're you're on tea. All right. Something cool that I learned when you want to make the tea more potent, I guess, or hold more essence of what you're trying to get out of it,
Mhm.
you do something called steeping. Please talk about that. Or
Well,
just regular folks.
that is usually placing the plant, which is dried, into a vessel, pouring hot water on it. It, it does not have to be boiling, but hot. And then you cover it and you just wait. Just let it steep. Let it wait. Depending on the plant, 5 minutes, 10 to 15, maybe 20. And after that, pour it out, enjoy it.
Talk.
After about 30 minutes, any herb will get a little bitter. Okay. Now, I love chamomile tea. Love it. But, like Peter Rabbit, you know, if you steep that a little too long, and I mean within a couple of minutes, it'll go from sweet to bitter. Okay. It's still good, but it's hard to chug down.
All right. So, God, there's so many things I can ask you, and I want to make sure that I get the most out of your time because I don't have you here for very much longer. So, talk about the kind of person that would be a good student for you to be able to go to your classes, either online or in person.
Okay, someone who is, I'm going to use this word, dedicated to coming in every week, listening to me rant and rave, taking notes, and more important, asking me questions. Even if I don't know the answer, they'll get the answer later. They'll make me search for it. And I love that. A student who is willing to think for themselves and challenge the instructor. Not because they're being snotty, but because they want to know. And those are the people I look for first. Number two, I want people who are going to use this knowledge. I've had students who have literally gone to 5, 6, 7 schools. You know, how much can you learn? You have to start using it among your friends, your family. Okay? You don't have to do what I do, for God's sake, but use the knowledge. Okay? Help someone. Once you do that, even if you do it only once in your life, you're an herbalist. And that's what I'm looking for.
Talk about, I know you have classes coming up in 2016.
Yes.
Talk about your series of classes that you're going to have coming up.
Well, I don't have my list, okay?
I do. I do.
Okay.
I have it.
We have a whole bunch of weekend classes planned.
You got
Which are
one
brand
that's
new.
called Grandma's Garcia's Healing Foods and Recipes.
Yes.
February 13th, 14th, 2016, 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.-ish. I love that.
One of my favorites. One of my favorite classes. This is dedicated to my mother and her foods. Part of the healing regimen was making foods that the sick person could eat or want to eat. Okay, getting them to be hungry again. If you've ever really had a bad stomach flu or say E. coli poisoning, you don't want to eat afterwards. You really don't. So, Grandma, my mom, she would make very light foods that the person would eat, that was nutritious and easy to make. And it ran the gamut of foods for people who had survived cancer, to people who had bronchial issues from smoking a lot. Thank God that's dropping. To babies. Okay, what foods would make the mother's breast milk more healthy?
That's
And
good stuff.
and then older people who they start losing their sense of smell and taste,
Mhm.
and food tastes bland. Well, you use spices. You use a lot more than you usually would. And it's like, oh yeah, that tastes good. I'm hungry again.
Right. All right.
So it's
Your
a
next.
fun class.
Thank you. Your next one is called Practical Defense for Street Herbalists. And before you go into what this is about, we know that once you get into doing this and you want to help people who can't necessarily get to a doctor or don't want to go to a doctor because they're afraid, sometimes you go into areas that are not very safe, or the individual that you're trying to help turns funny and you have to protect yourself.
Right. Um, I've been a street herbalist for over a decade now. I think it's closer to about 15 years. And I've been attacked by clients or by strangers or by muggers. And I've learned how to fight dirty. Okay. As you know, I usually walk on a cane.
Mm-hmm.
So I look like a defenseless little old man. Well, you can do a lot with a cane, and I've learned how to fight this one. You can use keys. You can use a crushed, hard box of, uh, of a cigarette box to fight with. Anything that that can cut and gouge, anything that you can pick up, and also certain movements that they won't expect you to do. They won't expect you to step into the fight. Don't go back. Always step into it.
All right. Thank you. Good advice. Our next section is very good advice. The zombie apocalypse and survival herbs. What do you do when the shit does hit the fan and you don't have the local blah 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 store on the corner open?
Okay. This takes pre-preparation. All right. You have to assume that your worst nightmare is going to happen. And in the San Francisco Bay Area, that would be a 8-point quake or 9-point quake, which we are due for.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've probably mentioned, I live exactly 1 mile to the step of a fault line. So we've prepared for the house to fall down. Now, assuming that we survive that, we have stuff outside that will keep us going for 3 months. Now, in that period of time, my neighbors will have problems due to bad water, maybe bad food, maybe injuries, infections. I mean, everything that would be a normal day in Bombay would happen here. So I teach what herbs you can grab off your lawn to fight infection, what herbs to steal from a field or your neighbors, which will bring down a fever, which will fight a bladder infection, which will help you, and this is my fear, if you run out of insulin, there are plants that can help you. So I'll teach all of that.
Okay. We're going to go over to, where the heck did my page go? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages open.
Oh my God.
So just shush. Everything is going real good. All right. This is Halloween Eve. And so, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about that ghosty kind of thing. Do you have unwanted spirits, or are you interested in finding out how to work with energy? This
Absolutely.
class here, Hispanic folklore, ghost stories, shapeshifters, creatures of the night. It's November 1st. Oh,
Every Sunday, yeah.
that's actually tomorrow, or day after tomorrow.
Right.
November 1st.
Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
I'm a believer because I grew up with that, and in my life and travels, I've seen some things which I can't explain. I've been doing paranormal studies almost all my life. I will investigate hauntings. There's a good chance that my colleagues and I are going to do an exorcism in about 2 or 3 weeks. This is serious stuff. But I learned about this from my mother, from ghost stories, from stories about cultural demons, you know, witches, angels, saints, and things that go bump in the night. So that now that I'm an adult, I'm not terrified of it. I respect it, but I'm not usually scared. And we have a ghost in this house. Her name is Katie. And Katie attached herself to me after conference, and she was probably some sort of maid in a large house. And when I'm going to be late for something, she'll get me up. She will turn off my CPAP machine, you know. Oh my God, it's 9 o'clock.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I've never been late. I'm night blind, so when I get up at night to be a little old man and go pee, someone leaves the light on in the hallway. Now, it's not me, it's not my wife, it's not the cat. Okay? Katie takes very good care of me, and she'll even turn on my CPAP. I'll just place it on, and I'll wait. And I'll say, Katie. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And it's really neat to have a maid, you know, and I thank her. I thank her every day. And I have some of my gear out, and I have been able to ask her her name, and it sounds like 80, and it has a slight Irish lilt to it,
Oh.
which would make sense because where I picked her up, many of the Irish who were escaping the Great Famine settled in that area. So I'm going,
Interesting.
aha, yeah. So
What would
that'll be my ghost story on Sunday.
That's cool. I love that. All right. Where do you want to go next?
My new book.
Yes.
Okay. It's a novella. It's not finished yet. I have just started it. It's my first zombie novel. There's a twist in it where these modern day homesteaders off the grid, they know it's coming, that they have some time to prepare. They're not going to leave their homes. They're not going to leave that 30-acre homestead. They have given up everything to build this. This is their dream. And they're going to find some way to fight. Now, they only have a couple of shotguns and a hunting rifle and a bow. Now, that's about it. They're a pretty peaceful group. So what are they going to do? How do they fight this? Well, they come up with the idea that, one, it's not a virus. It's never been one. Otherwise, at some point, the entire Earth would be going brains, brains. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a prion. Now, a prion is a protein. We don't know much about it yet, but a protein needs another protein to survive. And zombies eat meat, like it fresh, you know, grade A. So, if in past times these outbreaks occurred, I'm a big fan of the Max Brooks zombie concept. Okay. If these things have happened in the past, then our ancestors must have had a way to stop it other than chopping off heads. They must have found some way, some herb that would take the urge away. Now, I'm a diabetic. There's a plant. It's called Devil's Club. Now, assuming you can get the root out with a blasting cap, and you can make a medicine out of it, it takes away the urge for sweets. Takes away that urge.
That's a
Could
hard
they
route to
find?
dig.
Yeah.
That's
I've lived up in southeast Alaska. I know Devil's Club.
Yeah, mean sucker, huh? Mean
Oh,
looking
man.
plant.
You can make a great walking stick out of that stuff, though.
Yeah.
all right. We're up at 8:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I need to get a bumper from you. And so what you're going to do is you're going to give me your name, the name of, why don't you do this latest work so that when people listen to it, they'll be looking for it. And something about Zombiepalooza Radio on YouTube.
Okay. Here's a plug. My name is Charles Garcia. I'm a third generation herbalist and a lover of all things zombie, especially Zombiepalooza Radio. If you want the news of zombie life, this is the place to go. Please, if you have the time, go to Amazon.com and check out my book, Forever Fair, a post-apocalyptic fantasy. Now, there's no zombies in it, but it's got some pretty great characters. And my new book, which is not out yet, is called The 30. And hopefully it will be completed in late spring, early summer. And that'll be for sale also on Amazon.com.
Thank you very much. That was like you did that before. Woo!
I wish.
So, Dead Door, what do you think about zombies no longer having the desire to feed?
That would probably save up me some freezer space.
Be kind of boring, though. What would you do with your time, Dead Door?
Jeez, Crunchy, just for the fun of it.
Crunchy, what do you have to say
Oh,
about
leave
that?
me. I don't think so. Hey, crazy zombie.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Learn to play pool.
Something.
Hey, that's an idea.
Yeah.
I'll
But then
teach
you
him
know
how to
what?
play pool.
That could be dangerous for everybody.
Yes, it could.
Well,
I know, right? All right. So, Charles,
Yes.
whom do you wish to give a shout out to? And please give a shout out for your herbalism school before you go.
Okay. To my apprentice and my colleague, Lori Pino, who has been a true friend and a caregiver when I've needed her. And if you really are interested in some online classes, go to www.hispanicherbs.com, and it has a list of all of the classes I teach online. Now, warning, if you miss 2 classes without telling me the reason, then you're dropped and I keep your money.
And he means that. That's no joke. I mean, it's kind of like, all right, cool. I would like to have staff take over. Somebody.
Charles, it's been a great segment. I've learned quite a bit listening to you talk, and I look forward to the next time you come on. By the way, I put a link to the California School of Traditional Hispanic Herbalism on our Zombiepalooza Dead Again page.
Thank you.
Not a
Thank you.
problem.
Appreciate it.
I look forward to the next time you come back.
I'll be back.
Yes, he will. Dead Door.
Thank you, Charles, for coming by. I would definitely try to read one of your books.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
All right, Crunchy.
And they're cheap.
it's just peanuts for him.
My wife,
Charles.
my wife said no one is going to read a $5 book.
That's bullshit.
So I said, okay. So it's $4.99.
Well, there you
And
go.
she's right. Folks are buying it.
Yes, because you're the man. You have any kind of herbalistic issues, you go there because this man knows what he's talking about. He's done some pretty remarkable stuff, and I'm not going to embarrass him. So we love you, and we wish you long life and prosperity and all of that. I said like that Vulcan thing, peace.
That's right. That's
That
right.
too. I can't do that one. I have to do like, but there it is. You can do
Peace and
that.
long life.
I can do that. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Left hand
All right.
too.
I can't. Well, I can do it kind of, sort of, with my left hand. It still feels strained, but the other one, all messed up. Thank you very much, Charles Garcia, for coming
Give
out.
my best to your husband.
I sure will. Talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, Charles.
Bye bye.
I love that man. He's definitely family to us, and Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna play a little music on the Sam, and it better play.
You want to
And
try the YouTube one more time? I think I've got it fixed.
if you can YouTube it, then I can get a real 15-minute break, and that would be kind of cool.
Break? What's that?
I know, right? Because I usually don't get breaks
We've
anymore
gone 3
because we
shows
wait.
without a break.
I know. So go ahead and see if
Well,
you can do it.
Yep, make sure you're on my camera though.
Pull it all the way up to the front and let her rip. I'll be back at about in about 9 minutes, and then you can cut it.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. Hi. Wow, that was kind of
Hi.
festive. I like that.
Well, it would help if your mic wasn't muted.
Oh, are you kidding me? So we got
Nope.
10 minutes of silence?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, it got me really. I was listening on here. I could hear it. Sorry you guys couldn't hear it. But hey, we're ready to get back to business. I need to do a couple of things first. Spirit Halloween over at Eastwood Mall hooked me up with a pretty cool signage there. Kind of scary. Help! Do not enter at all on any level. And up at the top here, we have Zombie King's design of me. Hopefully I won't pull my cord out. I wish I could get this up here. Don't, oops. One of them took a crash. Check out how cool that is. Ah, thank you, Zombie King.
Great resemblance.
Love it.
Thank you. You think? Should see me in the morning without any zhuzh on my face.
That's right before coffee.
Yes, coffee. That's what Jackie looks. That's producer Jackie. Because, yeah, that's producer Jackie. And I get scary kind of like that. All right, I'm going to put everything relatively back together again. And let's see, so Spirit Halloween, big shout out for Nicole. Woo! Thank you. She's also newly posted on the YouTube channel. Please like and share, subscribe, whatever it is that you got to do for YouTube, and we would really, really appreciate that. All right, our next guest coming up is Lisa Vasquez, and I got to go over and grab her, so I'm going to go do that. Oh, we got trick-or-treaters. Aww.
A little early. All I got is fingertips and toes.
Uh-oh. Well, all right. Lisa Vasquez, hit that button. I'm excited to have her on. She's got some really, really cool things she's doing. I'm just working it out over there.
While we're waiting, I don't know if I've mentioned it on here up till now, but we do have a revelation in Night of the Living Dead genre. George Romero has found missing over 9 minutes of missing footage that was thought lost forever of both the largest zombie horde scene and 9 minutes of audio dialogue.
All right, Lisa, if you're in the YouTube room or something, you got to turn that off, and it's just you and me on that link. You cannot have both going, else it'll sound really crappy. Hi. Oh, she just muted herself. Go up to the top and unmute. Take your, yeah, it's a little bit of a learning curve, but you'll get it. You muted. Take your mouse and scroll all the way up to the top, and you'll see a microphone.
It'll be red.
There.
There we go. Sorry about that.
That's all right. It's a learning curve for us, too. We got kind of like a bumpy start to the show tonight. But, all right. So, welcome to Zombiepalooza Radio. I think you know our first chair co-host, Dead Door William. Go ahead and say hi, hi. Hi, hi.
Hi, how you
Good evening,
doing?
Lisa. I am doing great.
We also have Scott Pearson here. He is head of all head of all things green, and our research department. Scott Pearson.
Good evening. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, Scott?
I'm amused. I'm sitting here next to 4 brand new baby kittens. I can't be anything but amused.
Walla has had her kittens.
Oh yeah, she definitely had her kittens.
Very cool. And better get Crunchy in here before you choose me out again. So say hi, Crunchy.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Crunchy.
Yeah, hi, Lisa. Hi, City. Glad to see you again.
All right, so we're going to move over to your bio. She, Lisa Vasquez, wonderful lady that she is, it has many different hats that she wears, including the fact that she made that really awesome, and I mean awesome, logo for us for Zombiepalooza Radio. Check it out. All right, so CEO of Stitched Smile Productions. I think people create names like that so that public. Well, it says productions.
Did I
and
put
then
it wrong?
public.
Figures.
All right, we're going to do that again. She is CEO of Stitched Smile Publications.com. Check it out. She's also editor-in-chief for Inked Muse Press magazine and author of the Unsaintly series, which you can find on www.unsaintly.com. She is publisher's liaison for Horror Writers Association. Yeah! You can find out more about that. I love you guys. www.horror.org. Also, creative design director for Burning Willow Press. She does some pretty cool stuff here for people who are aching at the heart. She is crisis counselor for Crisis Text Line. And if you ever need that kind of service, it's www.crisistextline.org. Also, collaborative writer at gogetitlife.com. You should see how all the letters are all like that. Well, that's why I got that. She also has a new book. It's called The Unflesh. Here's a synopsis. She was created by hands, a twist of the classic Bride of Frankenstein. The Unfleshed tells the story of Morgan, a young girl who was stalked, murdered, and brought back to life. She has no memories, but soon she will find out whether that hand that feeds her is also that hand that broke her, or the hand that will help her with a second chance at life. You can tell that you're very creative because you have a lot of interesting ways in which you produce words. Talk about that. While I regain my thought process.
No problem. The thought process, I think, really came at a young age. My dad was very into special effects and art. He did a lot of plays as he was younger. He was a musician. So when we were kids, probably the favorite story, and I don't know if I've said it on the show before, but one of my favorite stories is back in the 80s, as I date myself, they just came out with VCRs, and then later on the new gadget was dual head VCRs. And so my dad, so that we could sit down and watch movies with him, late at night after he'd get off of his band gig, would sit and edit those movies so that we were able to watch it with him. So later on in life, of course, 21, 22, you're sitting around with the cool kids, like, oh yeah, I've seen this horror movie, you gotta watch it with me, and all of a sudden there are boobies flashing across the screen and everything going on that he edited out, and to this day I still find a movie where those scenes were not in there before. But you know, classic horror is my absolute favorite. Bride of Frankenstein is one of my absolute favorites as well. Mary Shelley is brilliant. She is a leader in women's horror, of course. So she's an idol of mine, as well as Anne Rice. And so I try to be as unique as possible, but I do like to bring back the classic idea of horror.
When you create in this particular genre, what is it like for you when you first start developing a new story?
This is going to make me sound crazy, which I am a little bit, but a lot of the characters are either develop in my head, so I create this entire world before I ever sit down to make a note. The entire story is stuck in the head, and most of the time I just have to let those characters out to play.
How important is, once you develop the characters, dialogue as far as making your point personally across and getting it to the reader so that we can immerse ourselves and believe what is happening before us is real?
Right. The biggest thing for me is research. And I have a lot of friends that, when I'm writing, will make fun of me because I will research down to a term that they use. For example, I do a lot of medieval storylines. So medieval being one of my favorite topics to talk about or read about or study about. I really want to know how they spoke back then, and to me it's so important because you know somebody is an expert in that area, and if they read your story and they don't get it, or if it's not placed, if it's 5 years, you know, before something is discovered, they're going to chew you up. And I know it happens with me too, where I'm watching, you know, maybe an action movie about a train, and it's the car's coming off and derailing, and you're like, that's not how it's going to happen. It's just not going to happen that way. So it irks people, and he's into that, they enjoy it. I'm sorry, I think you went mute on me for a second.
Yeah, we lost your sound, Jackie.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, curiouser and curiouser.
I don't know, but it looked like a great question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Nothing yet.
While she's trying to sort out her audio, I have a question for you. Do you, by any chance, you have friends in the SCA that you use for research?
Actually, no.
With SCA?
Yeah, I am, but I really don't. I'm going to label myself again. Along with all my hats, I have many labels. I did role play for a very long time, loved Vampire the Masquerade, gamed for a while, just a lot of reading. I'll read a tampon box if I can, if I have nothing else. But a lot of it is comic books. I just love movies that, explore the imagination, Lord of the Rings, fantasy, things like that, and also things that are intelligent. I really just like long, beautiful backstories that will take you away from, whatever's going on in your life that you need to get out of. I mean, people do drugs, people drink. Me, I just like to read.
It's one of the most intoxicating habits there is.
Right. And I mean, you're building the synopsis of the neurons in your brain. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, especially when you're reading to children at a young age, that's how they're formulating their language. And, when you're reading, you're building both the left side and the right side of the brain. So when you can bring those all together, you are in a place that you're exactly right, is more intoxicating than drugs and all kinds of things. And Jackie's stuck in that little box there. I'm so sorry.
Jackie, is your audio fixed?
No.
That sounds like a no.
I would take that as a no.
Doesn't sound like a no. It would sound like a no if we could hear it. Gremlins are coming! Hooray! Hooray! That no. Dead Door, do you have any questions for her?
No, I don't right now. I'm trying to help her at the same time.
Oh, okay. Well, while they're trying to troubleshoot,
Sure.
I'm curious, what inspired you to set medieval times for your writing?
I think just probably about 8th grade. I used to think history was boring, and then about 8th grade, I had a teacher that was just fantastic. Really got involved with us, and when I started to learn about medieval times, I can't even really put a finger on it. It's just one of the things that I really love to watch, anywhere from comedy like, A Knight's Tale, all the way to, like I said, Lord of the Rings, kind of that fantastical, I love monarchy, British monarchy, things like that. So, and again, one of my other idols was Queen Elizabeth. I love very powerful women, not that I'm all about feminism and women and things like that. And I think that everybody should be equal, who were able to stand out from the crowd and, face adversity just in the name of saying, hey, just because I'm a woman, I'm not weak. That to me just inspires me, because a lot of times, especially in the horror industry, if a woman writes horror, she either gets a lot of flack for it because, oh my gosh, how can she write stuff like that? Or they just don't give her enough credit for it. And, I think that as a genre, horror is your fears. You're facing your fears, and that's how you're getting through things therapeutically. So I think everybody should just be on, even keel. There was a big discussion about, should we have a women's horror month? No, absolutely not. I think that it should just be a horror month altogether, because I think that there are so many authors that come from a different angle about things, and like, okay, you have Stephen King, you have Anne Rice, and you're just getting these different angles of things that are just fantastic. I mean, I'm inspired all the time whenever I see somebody's take on the same things that we see over and over again. If they do something original, it doesn't matter if they're male or female to me.
Cool.
I
I'm
agree
wondering,
wholeheartedly there.
do
I've
you hear me
seen some
now?
amazing takes on the zombie genre.
Yes,
All right,
I can hear you.
Since I've been part of Zombiepalooza Radio, and
God.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
Okay.
Deborah.
All right, so I'm back.
Yay!
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right, let's get down to it. Thank you, Scott and Dead
Jackie
Door.
come back?
I don't know why he
No,
can't
Yeah,
see
Jackie,
me,
come back.
but I'm here.
Well,
Jackie's back.
She's back.
Scott, I got it.
I'm
Hi.
not seeing her.
Yeah, she's
It's
on.
okay. Don't worry about it. All right, so
That's weird because I don't show her on my screen.
are we going to talk about this,
Jackie, are you
or are we
here?
going to talk about Lisa?
Yeah, Jackie is here. God. So go ahead and mute and go ahead.
All right, I got this. Irony, as ironic as all of this is a literary
Well,
device. I'm going to kill him.
Is she coming in?
She's in. Please stop talking, because you're going over her and she's about to
I'm
hang out on you.
gonna mute his mic. I think, maybe. I can't figure out how to do it. Just there you
He
go.
is muted and you are on the go.
Thank you very much, Dead Door. Hi, Lisa. This is
Hi,
a show
Jackie.
called Zombiepalooza Radio, where anything happens, and it is Hallows Eve. All right, so we're getting back to the topic of irony. It's a literary device that's used to be able to kind of give the backstory to characters. And what I'm interested in is finding out how you place this within your works and make it better for the readers to be able to understand what's going on in your story?
Well, when I'm writing a story, I think it's important to me that the reader is allowed to formulate descriptions and kind of see what's going on in their own mind. So they're going to need a lot of description, but they're also going to need you to back off at the right balance. So,
Right.
as women, we love to talk, right? So we're constantly going on and on, and the guy's sitting there like, I have not heard a word you said, maybe the last 10 words. So you kind of have to look at that when you're writing, that you can't keep going on and beating a dead horse when you're describing somebody's eyes. They're just eyes, damn it. They're blue eyes, they're beautiful, and they're not orbs, they're not, anything like that. So I think when you're writing, you just need to talk as if you're at the campfire and you're talking about a story and you're relaying that story to somebody. You're talking to your best friend and you're trying to set up the scene for, and oh my God, my skirt was stuck in my pantyhose. You overdo it, the joke isn't funny anymore. So, and that takes practice. Honestly, it does. Nobody's an expert at it. You have different formulas. You try it by trial and error, and if you're good at it, you're good at it. But anybody can be good at it. That's the point, I think. It just takes practice.
Okay. When you go to create and you get an idea, do you write everything out or do you free flow it?
When I'm researching, I will perhaps, for the Unfleshed, for example, I wrote out a timeline of the plague when it hits certain areas because that's very important in the story. As far as the characters go, I have tried to just, if I stop to take a break, maybe write something else and then try to hook it up later on. It does not work for me. Some people can do that. They can write an outline, go back to chapter 12, and go back to chapter 1. I can't do that. So I write from word 1 to the last page. So I free flow it, and then I'll go back and tighten it up. But for timeline, things like that, I'll write it out.
Okay. All right. So how important is critical thinking when you're producing a work?
Thinking is important outside of the work, and I wish more people had it, but critical thinking is very important, especially when you're free-flowing, because characters have a mind of their own, what they're going to do in the story and where your story is going, but sometimes they run loose on that leash, and you just have to kind of flow with it. And if you're not on your feet and you're not able to work with that, then you're going to fail. Because for me, my characters, as the storyline is going, I'll get more ideas in my head, and I say, oh, that'd be awesome to stick in there, and oh, I thought it was going to go this direction, but I think this ending will be much better. And so for me, if you're not on the ball with it, you're going to hit a lot of potholes, and you're going to have a lot of writer's block.
How long have you been a writer? And I mean that in the sense of being a paid writer.
Oh, a paid writer. Paid, probably a couple years, actually. Not very long, but I've been writing since I was a child. I did some poetry, and I'm sure everybody had that poetry. Had a couple of my works in there, but I never really got paid for it. It was more like DMing Dungeons & Dragons, online roleplay, things like that. So I'm always writing, everything, all the time.
All right. One of the reasons why I've got you here, besides the fact that you're an author, is that you have started your own publication. Talk to me about what your ethic value is for being the CEO of Stitched Smile Publications.
I think as far as ethic goes, I started out, here's how I started. Who don't have a lot of experience with social media, and social media can be very awkward. You know, when you come into it, you're told, oh, get Twitter, that's how you're going to sell books. Oh, you have to get on Facebook, you have to be, you know, interacting with your fans. All of that is true, but if you don't know how to connect everything, and you don't know about hashtags, and you don't know how it works for you, you're not going to go anywhere. You're skating uphill, number one. And number two, you're going to get taken advantage of. And number three, you're going to go insane. I mean, you're trying to toss, you know, a status update on your Twitter. You're trying to, you know, put a status update on your Facebook. And if somebody didn't know, hey, you know, you can connect all those and save yourself a lot of time. And, hey, you know, you can schedule some posts and save yourself even more hours in the day, then the hours that we could be writing were spent trying to figure out how to play with our computer and spending more time away from our families. And so for me, I think a lot of the pressure is taken off of an indie author if you can say, look, just flip and write. If you can just write, I will show you how to take care of this if you want control of it, but if you don't, we can handle it. It's going to be okay. And when they trust you enough to do that for them, your ethic is that, number one, you're not going to take advantage of them. Number two, you're going to do what you say and say what you, and, you know, I think that's it right there. It's just, you know, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And if you can't do it, be honest about it.
Right. All right. Small production publication companies have been some of my joy to bring them on and be a part of, and some of my worst experiences as far as how they are non-ethically treating their authors. I'm very stressed about that because I know a lot of these authors now. They're friends of mine now because of the 3 years we've been, quote unquote, pitching each other, working with to get together with each other, and it hurts me when people are led down the wrong path or given information that just doesn't apply.
Right.
So I've known you for, oh gosh, almost about a year now? In various different ways. I know that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. And if you can't, you tell them, hey, I can't do this right now, and give them some sort of timeline or tell them where else they can go.
Correct.
I appreciate that about you. I'm pretty sure that the people that are going to be coming in to your publishing house also appreciate that kind of ethical standing. It's important. So many people, they kind of get the idea, okay, we're going to do this really nice small thing, and then they go boom, and they bring on everything they can think of and don't think about timing and how much it's going to cost and all of that other stuff. For you, you've said that what you would like to do is only bring on a couple of people a year.
Right.
Before you go to the next level, so to speak.
Right.
Why is that important to you?
Well, because first of all, my authors that I'm bringing on right now, I'm lucky enough that I didn't have to go searching for them. They kind of, the word leaked out before I had ever said anything, and so people had followed a lot of the things that I had done, and they came to me and said, hey, we'd really like to work with you. And that to me spoke volumes of, you know, the things that my parents taught me about hard work and ethics. And so in being a good publisher to them, I need to give them time. And I need to make sure that I can handle what I'm doing, because things, like you said, do have a tendency to blow up, and we're like, wow, this is a lot bigger than I expected it to be. For example, I'm doing an event right now on Facebook, 31 Days of Hell, and I was like, okay, we'll have an author a day, and it blew up, and I was like, holy crap. So
It can happen quick.
exactly, and people to back me up, like Tracy Tufo and Leslie Whitaker and Christine Sutton. If I didn't have them to back me up, it would have been a flop. And for somebody who is giving me their baby and their, you know, the things that they work so hard on, and they're expecting a business transaction,
Yes.
I just cannot do that to them, because I know how that feels. I've seen it happen with other publishing companies, and you know, I work very closely with Kendra and Ed from Burning Willow Press. So even though I have my own publishing company, I'm not in competition with them. We actually are collaborating on a lot of things, and that's an important issue too. When there's competition among this indie industry, when people should be working together, and I can do some things better than another person, and another person can definitely do some things better than me, and I, you know, respect their experience, I respect their advice, and everybody just has a different style. So with that being said, if I take on just I'm keeping to my word. I can give them the time I need to take care of their book, their promotions, and their deadlines without putting myself in the hospital.
It's a lot of work. I only know from producing this show for as long as I have that it can go either really, really well, and you can have a great week, or you're going to have one day after another that is all blended together in one big bag of hellish stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I know enough about you that you know how to pace yourself.
Right.
And that these projects are very important to you. So, are you at a point where you can talk about any of whom your editors will be, or your cover work people, or any of that?
Right now we have Veronica Smith. She is my editor. I have Lori Fontanez, who is a new author, and she is also going to be sort of my welcoming committee. So when you get a new author, a lot of times you're spending time in the background, and you're, you know, running around and you're saying, okay, I got the contracts, I got this, I got that. That author's sitting there waiting the whole time, like, hey, here I am, and they don't know what's going on, and they've got the doe in the headlights. So she's gonna be my person to go, you know, let me walk you through this, like, you know, when you're the new kid at high school and they're walking you to class. So she's the welcoming committee. I have two people not known in the community, people I know personally that are going proofreaders to kind of beta read and copy edit sort of thing. The vice president of my company is somebody who I've known for about 15 years. Her background is actually music, but she's one of the smartest people I have ever met, and her name is Brandy Short. So we've, like I said, we've known each other for many, many years. She's one of my best friends, and she has agreed to come on and kind of help me, and she's always been, you know, my backup partner throughout anything. And just with this endeavor, it's kind of I went left field on it, and she didn't have it. She had no clue until I came to her and I said, look, you know, I've been thinking about this probably for about a year and a half, and it took me that long to kind of, you know, set the stones in place. And I said, so here it is. It's all put together. What do you think? And she was like, absolutely, I want to do it. So you're going to get a vast and diverse staff, and they're not, like I said, they're not everybody that you're familiar with, because kind of like sharing girlfriends. So yes, we want to have that common ground, but at the same time we want to have a little bit of new blood.
All right. Talk about a little bit more about the Unsaintly.
Okay, so the Unsaintly is the first book in the series. I don't know how many I'm going to have in the series. Like I said, my characters take a life of their own. When it's done, it's done. But at this point, it's just the beginning, so I don't know. And this is a book it's a personal book because it talks a lot about faith. And, you know, a lot of people will not give it a chance because it has the anti-God in there, so I think it's Satanist or something. But really, I mean, we talk about gods all the time. You know, we have Thor and Loki and whatever. So what if we had the opposite of that, and that was the anti-God? So what I did was, because I have a large background in religion. It's a big part of my life. I went through a very trying time, and I questioned a lot because, I mean, let's face it, everybody does. I think you get to a point where you're at the darkest time of your life, and you're like, well, what else is there? What's up there? What's down there? Am I really doing everything I'm supposed to be doing? Should I be Buddhist? Should I be, this? Who's right? Who's wrong? Anyway, faith became more of a spirituality to me, and so it translated into this book. So what if you're, this mortal who has no idea about heaven and hell, what you're really supposed to do, you're just, doing what you think is right, following all the rules, and in the background, these gods are watching you, and it's like a game of chess. They have their own issues that they're going through, and they're watching, and they're saying, hey, I bet I could do this, and I can manipulate that. And so they take this poor girl who is, just devout, and they're watching her, and so Lucifer comes in, and he's like, I see that you like her. I'm jealous, because that's how Lucifer is in all of the religions and fables. And God says, that's my beloved, don't touch her. And so he's like, okay, but we know that never happens. I mean, so there's this battle, and in the background, there's the void, and nobody knows what the void is, but she comes in, and she pretty much whoops ass, and we're left with this mortal saying, okay, how am I going to save everybody, including myself? So it's a game of, it's a story about strength and faith and spirituality. That's about it.
Thank you. All right, so a lot of this is creating your own world in stages. You get your, well, what do you do first? Do you create your characters, or do you get the environment? What do you do first?
I think it came from, it all surrounded Isabel, who's the main character, the mortal. And again, a lot of my characters are alter egos, so in a way, I guess I was working through spiritual issues. So it started with her. I read a story about a saint who was the daughter of the Blanche of Castile. And again, British monarchy is something that I'm very fond of. So when I read about her, I said, you know what, we never hear about, we always hear about the sons, let's do something with the daughters, because there's no back history, so I could do whatever I wanted with her. Right. And then I coupled that with a picture that inspired the story from Alan Daniels from Heavenly Hussies, and it was, this nun who was all gory and everything, and I went, yeah, I'm going to go with it. So that's where it came from, her, and then I just built on it, and then built on it, and built on it, so it's just layers.
What are 3 things that are integral to your characters before you put them out there to show off?
They have to become 3-dimensional. You have to be able to believe it's a person, not just a picture. They have to be able to relate with them. Number 1, there has to be something that connects them to that character. Number 2, you have to be able to relate to your character. You have to have something in them that you can, puppeteer, basically. And then number 3, you have to have a conflict, because if you're just going on with the story and nothing happens, I mean, what's the point? So I think those are pretty much the most integral things. Who is your character, how they relate to the reader, and then what's the conflict?
All right, so sticking on to the topic of character building, how do you make sure that they are authentic to your story?
Well, because I start with the character and the story goes around it, so I know about what time frame that I want them to be in. A lot of it is, if I take Unsaintly, for example, it was really important to me that even though the story followed more of a Catholic background, that there were little elements that anybody from any religion could look into it and say, yeah, I can relate to that. So when you're doing horror, when you're doing fantasy, you have a little bit more leeway, honestly, because you can make something supernatural. And when you make it supernatural, you're on another level. Nobody can prove it otherwise. So, I mean,
Yeah, but
really, you can do whatever you want.
there are certain elements that you must stick to, even though you're in that particular world. So, and I want to make people understand that you're not taking that lightly by throwing everything in the kitchen sink and a couple of dinosaurs and whatever. There are certain things you need to do.
Right. Number one is research. I can't say it enough. If you're going to talk about a town in Chicago, pull up, Google Earth or something, idea, or visit if you can. Get an idea of the climate, the people. People in Texas are completely different from people in Chicago. I'm from Chicago. I moved to Texas, and I'm still in a culture shock. It's been 20 years. So you have to understand human nature, I think. You have to understand that what their mindset is. A lot of my research is actually, how did they think back then? What were their beliefs? What were their families like? How did they interact with each other? Of course, women in medieval times didn't speak their mind. They didn't, they didn't run the house. The husbands ran everything. They couldn't just walk out in whatever they wanted to wear. Men could still beat them back then, and it was okay. So you have to understand that mindset. If you don't understand what it's like to be oppressed, you're not going to be able to write it. So you have to understand the world that you're creating.
Exactly. All right. So where do I want to go? How important is that first couple of lines within your manuscript?
Those are the hardest lines I ever write because I have the attention span of a sandfly. So in the first page, maybe two, if I'm not hooked, the book goes away. I'm just honest. And so for me, the biggest pressure I have is that first page because that's how I am. So for me, I like it to start right away. I like something to just really grip you and be like, what the hell is happening? So if you're not following Alice in Wonderland, then you've lost the reader already most times.
Absolutely. All right. So we're at 9:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I need to get a bumper from you. So you're going to say your name. I would like your publishing house and something about Zombiepalooza Radio on YouTube. Please.
Okay, you ready?
I am.
All right, so this is Lisa Vasquez. I'm the CEO of Stitch Smile Publications. I'm a jack of all trades. I'm Jackie's biggest fan, and this is the best show of horror of any genre. Be there every week, Friday. We love you.
Thank you. Love you too. All right. How important is it for a production like what we do to be able to get your voice and the voice of your people that are going to be in your publishing house? How important is it?
This is probably one of the biggest things that an author can do because an author can grip you with the pages of their book, but when you become a fan of an author, you're also relating to them. If you're constantly hiding behind a screen that nobody gets to see you on, I think you lose touch. I think you lose a connection. So, and this is global. I mean, you're going to have Facebook UK, and you're going to have Amazon India, but this is global, and people who aren't on your Facebook and people who aren't on Twitter are listening to the show because it's so diverse. You have all genres of the horror genre. So when you come onto the show, you are reaching people that have no flipping clue who you are.
Right.
And then they want to read what you're doing or they want to see what you're doing, and it's invaluable.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. All right. So you're going to be producing some books from your publication company. Do you have an idea when they're going to start pushing out?
Well, Lori's book is probably going to be out. She's the only one because I worked with her before we made the announcement, and she really wanted me to publish her book for her, and I've already helped her with several other things. So I promised her that I would do everything in my power to get her book out, as long as it's perfect, before Thanksgiving. After that, I have one more book that I might put out because it's a republish. They had the rights. They wanted to bring it over to our company, and I said, okay, let me do it slowly, make sure everything's perfect, copy it, and then put it out.
That strikes me on something else really quick.
Sure.
For people who are interested, have a book, what kind of publication, what kind of manuscripts are you looking for as far as submissions? What do they need to have?
I really want the author to bring me what they're happy with. If they have a manuscript in their hand and it's not, it doesn't fit the glove or the box of what normal publishers have, but they think there's a niche for it, or they think that, hey, you know what, we don't have to, we can color outside the lines, show it to me. If you have a comic book, whatever it is, if it's a concept that we may have to build on, if I don't think it's quite finished, we'll talk about it. But, if I think it's something that you want to put out and you're happy with it, you obviously want to make money. I mean, that's why you're going to a publisher. You want to, you want that recognition, hey, somebody thought I was good enough to be published. But you also want to make the money for the work that you've done. And that's a big deal. A lot of times we just want people to read our damn book. We give it away. We just throw it away. But you know what? I want you to get paid for it. And so we have to find out what's the market for that book. So if I see it, I think there's a market for it, even if it's not on Facebook, even if it's not, the normal horror or whatever. I think that even if it's a small cult, population, I'm going to go for it because, I want to be different.
Okay. All right, cool. I need to do a quick sound check for Scott Pearson. So let me see if you can hear me and all of that.
I can hear you and all of that.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're good with that. You got a .com or something else you want to throw out?
Definitely want to throw out the unsaintly.com because that's my catch-all. Anything that I'm doing is usually going to be on there. But I also have a blog, and I started off with that just being for the Unsaintly book, but I've changed it. So there's a little bit of everything, and it's a lot more of my personal thoughts about things. So that one is unsaintly, I have to think about that, unsaintlybook.wordpress.com. But also, if you don't mind, I'd like to touch on the crisis text line because it is personal to me. If you're in any kind of crisis, whether it be abuse, you're suicidal, if you feel like any type of crisis that you have, please don't hesitate to utilize that resource, and don't forget that there is somebody that you can talk to in a text. It doesn't have to be on the phone. Some people are very intimidated by that. You're texting somebody. We are live people, and we're there to help you.
Give the address.
Oh, crisistextline.com. Is it .com? I'm sorry, you have all the information for me. I'm sorry, but if you just go to Crisis Text Line, you do a search for it, you'll see it. There's it's standard messaging, so if you have unlimited messaging, there's no extra cost to it. It's absolutely free, and they have plenty of resources if you need help.
Okay, all right. That's the wonderful Lisa Vasquez, and we appreciate you for being on Zombiepalooza Radio. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that went pretty good once the bumps got kicked around a little bit. All right, so we're going to go. Huh?
Somehow when you came back, I didn't even see you.
shit happens. All right. So, Dead Door, can we put some sound in there so I can try to prep for next hour? And next hour, we're going to have Jennifer Raygoza. Pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I'm more nervous than the people coming on here. My sounds are kind of funny. Dead Door, we got something coming? Or no? Why, yes, we do. Thank you. And I'll make sure to unmute my mic once it gets started. It's not playing anything. Interesting. All right. Turning curves. Click on my cam too. I did. But it's not playing anything. My mic's not muted. See? It doesn't want to play. Oh, maybe. It's not playing. This is going to be a long night. It's all right. I'm going to find something else to put in there. So give me a minute. Here we go.
Taki, can you hear me now? Hello?
You're listening to Zombiepalooza Radio.
This is Dead Door. You're watching Zombiepalooza Radio live on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share.
The views expressed and opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of CPR Productions, its affiliates, or sponsors. Dead Door, go ahead and do that one more time.
This is Dead Door, and you're watching Zombiepalooza Radio live on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. We love those likes, subscribes, and shares.
I know, yes we do. All right, Scott Harrison, go over to Facebook and see what our numbers are currently.
On my way.
Thank you.
Got to refresh the page. Actually,
I'm
I'll post it. Lisa Vasquez's links.
Vasquez.
Let me do a test real quick. Just take a quick second here.
I don't have time for a test. What tests are you doing? Live link is frozen? Ugh. What the fuck?
Did you hear it?
Are we on air? Are we on air?
Yes, we are on it.
Thank you. I gotta go get the link for Jennifer. Gotta go find what I'm doing here. Too many pages.
More likes. We're up to 2,957. And insights are loading.
Thank you. We're working on getting Jennifer over here.
I sent her the link in her messenger.
Okay, I got her. I'm hoping that she's going to click that because I need her to do that.
You ready for these numbers?
Give them to me.
Which is 33, 56, holy monkeys, 67, it's still climbing, 78, going up. Wow. Okay, 89,989 post reach, 101,237 is still climbing.
I wasn't talking about that.
224.
I'm talking about the post reach for the page. The post reach for Zombiepalooza Dead Again is 225,545. We have currently, right now, 15,886 people live engaged right now. Zombiepalooza Radio is rocking the house.
Love it.
All right.
Loving it.
Why do I not have my Jennifer? Where is she? This is just bananas. I'm waiting for her to come in. Hello? Where are you? Where'd you go? Did you leave? I don't know where she went. And she's... What? She's not... What? You're all crunched up. Please back out and come back in. Hi, Jennifer. How you doing? Hi, Jennifer. How you doing? I got no sound on her. Jennifer, I got no sound on you. Well, this is going to be fun.
Okay, well, Jen's left and gonna come back in.
She said it was frozen, and I don't understand why. But that door, you just left and you came back in, and it's okay?
I don't know. You tell me. Is everything all right there?
I hear you. I hear you.
All
Good.
right.
All right. So, does anybody check the YouTube channel to make sure we're still on?
I'm on it right now, and
Because there's no reason why this shouldn't be working the way it's supposed to. Scott, just go ahead and mute your mic until we figure this out. Why would it be frozen?
I don't know.
But we're live and you can see us. I'm going over there, over to the YouTube on my phone. There's no reason why she should be locked out then.
Mercy has too many pages up and it's blocking up her system. Mercy has too many windows open and it's blocking up her system.
Oh, you know, you're right about that. Yeah, that could be an issue. All right. Where do we see us live right now?
On YouTube at Zombiepalooza Radio Live.
You're right. We're right there, and I can see me. It's kind of weird. Go turn the sound down.
Creepy. It's creepy.
I know. We got a lag going here. I think she's here, but I can't see her on my screen. Shake your head if you can hear me, Jennifer. Oh, wait a minute. That's, you know, I think the whole thing crashed. Did it crash? It's crashed. Yep. Gotta start all over. All right. We can't be. It's not even working on my phone. Nope. What the hell happened?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know, but it still shows broadcasting live.
Wonder what she's doing. She goes, she's calling in, but there's nothing. So what do I do? I mean, I didn't make a new link.
No, we use the same link.
All right, just give me a minute.
I'm hoping because you backed out, it didn't mess it up.
You know what? Maybe we should just cut this transmission and I'll start a new one.
Okay.
I mean, it's the one thing I can think of right now.
Yeah.
Someone
Give it a